What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Jacked Ramsays. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Yes, we're both back together. Yes, we're both alive. And it's a live show. Like, rate, review, subscribe, help us grow the show. Jacked Ramsays is part of the Blue Wire Network. Blue Wire. It's a sneaky show. I didn't announce anything because Lord knows everything keeps changing on when one of us is available, when one of us is alive or dead. Welcome back to the land of living, Brandon.
It feels great. It was nice. Well, it feels nice to know that I can talk again. Like I've never had that. That was the worst sore throat of my life. I physically couldn't talk. And it was right in the middle of the week. I felt like I was kind of close to turning a corner, and it just so happened to be the day I just slept all day. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not doing anything but sleep. That was the day you interviewed Joe, and I get a call and a text, and it's like, hey, I'm talking to Joe in like an hour. Are you good? It's like, I can't physically talk right now. So I was bummed to miss Joe. It was a good interview. I watched it. Obviously, we got some news today, but it does feel good to be back with the land of the living and to, give everybody a Ramsays.
Yeah, for those that don't know the behind the scenes, I've been working with the Blazers to get Joe on the show. This time of year, they're actually super busy. As they have a bunch of work to do leading up to the lottery, and then the scouting combine leading up to the lottery. So you're scouting before then. And basically until the lottery, it's go, 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 go. And then they get a couple days to chill. And then post-draft, they get a day or two to chill, and then it's free agency. Once free agencies, the first 2 weeks are over, then they can actually... So, trying to get the timing for Joe to get on was threading the needle. But again, thanks to General Manager Joe Crum for stopping by and giving us a little bit of time. We talked about a bunch of things. One of them including we'll talk about here today the announcement of the G League team, but also Joe will be back following free agency to discuss what they did or didn't do. And I think that's the quote unquote accountability podcast, the accountability show. So
I look forward to bringing him on, and we can talk about how the depth is going to work after Victor, Jaylen Brown, Jeremy Grant, Shaden Sharp, and Dame aren't on the court, just to see what that depth's like. I can't wait to bring him on for it.
One little bit of housekeeping is we do have the location locked in. I think we can actually...
Yeah, we can announce it.
Yeah.
We haven't done it on the air yet for some weird reason. But
yeah, but it is confirmed. Yeah, I did double check that today. Are you guys doing your show live or no?
No.
Okay, so
Bricks isn't open.
That's what I thought. So there he is. It'll be at Bricks downtown. The live lottery show, May 16th. Dusty and I will be doing our show down there. Mm-hmm. And then Isaac and Suk will be doing their show, and simulcast we will be doing the podcast live on location. So I am literally going to pack up my tower, my camera, and be down there with those guys. So as soon as Dusty and I hop off air, we'll fire this thing up. Well, probably not right away, because I don't think the lottery's until 4, which means it's not actually until 4:30 or 5.
Hey, 4:20-ish is about when you start to kind of watch to see where Portland is.
Yeah. So we'll fire it up, and then we'll either commiserate or celebrate or meh together. So
I don't think there's a meh. I'll say that right now. I don't think there is a meh.
If they don't move.
Yeah, I mean, if they move down to 6, it's not ideal. You're not feeling amazing because you want Victor, but if you're not getting Victor, the initial reaction is damn. But I'm also cool. That's the pick you're trading. That's going to be included in some big package. That's what
I just want it to be more valuable.
Sure.
John says he sure wasn't kidding when he said a G League team was coming. I'll just say it. Guys, there's a reason why I've been asking about a G League team for the last couple months. I've known a team's coming for a year. But they needed to, it's their job, and I'm not going to step on what they're doing and how they want to do it and how they want to roll it out. But there was hey, is this going to happen in the next couple of weeks over the last month? So, there's the cat out of the bag, man. Trailblazers have a G League affiliate team, their own. Yeah. They're not sharing. What's your first thoughts, first takeaways on them having it?
I was excited. I mean, it's the developmental stage of basketball, especially in this league with the amount of talent that comes through. I mean, there's so many players that don't get any shine that if they were put in a different situation, I think we'd know their names. Mm-hmm. I think if you watch the playoffs right now, and I just put my phone away, so I don't know what the actual scores of the games are. But like you see last night, Atlanta comes back from double digits and beats Boston in a series-ending game on the road. Minnesota pushes Denver like 3 times in their series. The Clippers making the Suns play all their guys despite no Kawhi, no Paul George. I think if you just watch the playoffs, Danny, this league is, and I think it's coming soon. It's ready for expansion. There's enough talent in this league, I think, now where if you added 2 more teams, there's enough talent to fill that out. You have the international, local stuff. So I was just excited. I mean, we'll have a lot of opinions on this team, the leadership of it, I think, after the summer. But so far, I think, like, it was egregious to find out when the regime change happened. Like, they had 1 international scout. It's the most international the game's ever been.
Yes.
Some of like the 3 best players in the league might all be international players. To have 1 is an embarrassment. And so to see them invest in that, care about that, and then now you add the developmental stage where you send guys 15 minutes from the facility and you allow the local fans to go to these games. Like nobody was going to Idaho Stampede games.
God, no. So it was a major loss for them.
It was a major loss, but like to have it brought back is big, and to have it so local is a great thing for the franchise and the fans.
In the search process, I heard Childs, which is where they're playing. Childs, Nike, the Hoop in Beaverton was actually one that I heard float around because it's a huge space if you've never been out there. But Childs is a fantastic place. I just didn't think that there would be an arrangement there that U of P was going to allow for.
Yeah.
But now there is already an established relationship because Childs does host and has hosted part of the PK Invitational, the Phil Knight Invitational, which is run and operated by Moda.
Yeah.
So that relationship already exists, which probably did a huge part of kind of getting these 2 at the table to figure that out.
I found out today, Danny, like they'd been talking, this goes back a few months now, but like I found out today that was position 1 for them, was to go to the Childs. It houses the most people. It's the most logical.
Yeah, it's almost 5,000 people.
It's pretty centric. Like I know the West Siders got to drive a little bit, but the East Siders do too. So it's kind of centric for everybody. And again, it's 15 minutes.
It's set up for TV. Facility. That's the thing is people don't know is that they have to have a minimum capacity. I want to say it's like 300. I can't remember. Don't hold me to it. It's like 300 to 500, something around those lines, which isn't that much, but you need to have minimum capacity seating. You also have to have the capacity and the ability for high-end television crews, not a camera up on a crane. Like it has to have like an actual professional television because these games are broadcast on NBA.com. They are broadcast on local TV providers, on streaming solutions. There's a whole host of things. Now, I don't know what the Blazers are going to do with that. I just know what has happened in the league before this. So, going back a year when Joe Cronin set a couple guys down to the G League, I said, hey, this is a change in how the Blazers are looking to operate within their development. In that the previous administration, management group under Neil O'Shea, said it plainly with their chest, we would rather develop in-house. That they didn't see the need for an investment in the G League. Joe Cronin has grown the scouting staff. He's grown the development team. And now they've invested, Jody Allen and the Vulcan/Allen Trust has invested in a G League franchise. Now, the league was probably going to force them to do it regardless because it was just them and Phoenix will have one next year, one way or the other. They're going to have every team have one, plus their two additional ones, Mexico City and...
they have that Unite one.
The Ignite, yes.
Ignite, yeah.
But that's kind of where the league was sitting with it. This is great, though. You alluded to the idea of development. It's not just... I saw a lot of people like, why doesn't Jabari Walker go down and play with the G League? Because sending him back and forth was a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe you go get him some confidence, go get him some run working on whatever. But he can go do that on a noon game when they're on a homestand in Portland, and then come to the arena and dress or maybe not dress, whatever it is, but be on the bench that same night. Ibu Baji is a player that factors for the Blazers going forward. He's going to play this summer league for the Trailblazers. Like, he's very excited about it. You would have seen him play down the stretch of this tanking season had he not had a damaged knee. He would have been, if they had a G League affiliate here and going, he would have 100% been playing in those games. And then we would have people going, why isn't Baji playing under the real team? He's 7 foot tall. Why isn't he playing? Which,
that's,
I mean,
hey,
that opens up that fun door.
I was going to say, that's the funniest thing is there's going to be a good combination of Blazer game and G League game people like that. Just, they have the coin. They don't care. They got the time. Sure. They're going to go both. And they're going to be sitting there like one of 100 people in an arena. And they'd be like, we got to play this cat.
Yeah.
He is dominating. And it's a reminder that, one, you do get good things from the G League. That does happen. But also you discover there are just guys, and it's really unfortunate. There just tend to be guys that are a little too good for the G League and yet not quite good enough for the league. They
that gap.
That
gap.
Like, weird gap.
Every step you go up, from G League to back of rotation, from back of rotation to in rotation, from in rotation to sixth man, from sixth man to low-level starter to league average starter to above. Like, you just, every step you take is another holy shit moment.
Right, exactly.
Like, that skill curve gets steeper and steeper and steeper. And that one from college to the G League is steep because it's grown-ass men.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing. It's like, oh, this is like, even if the talent level is there, take the best players from college in any given year that aren't NBA players and advance them 5 years. That's the G League.
Yeah.
You've got 25, 26, 27-year-old dudes who are fighting.
They're holding on to their dream.
And I've talked to guys down there, and they're like, it is nasty. Like,
yeah, I bet it is.
Because guys are fighting for jobs.
I mean, America loves the Real Houses of, wives shows. We should be doing this for the G League. We should just be having Derek stab.
Oh, have them all in a house together?
Well, have them in a house, and then also have the 31-year-old who's still, trying to live
clinging on
with the 20-year-old that comes in. He's like, yo, I'm gonna be here for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to league, and then you know what I mean? It's just like, how dare Derek
the old vet just beating the hell out of the kid, giving him the soap party.
Dude, I'm in. And then we have reunion shows. You'd be like, hey, remember Derek like 10 years ago? He retired. Derek, come on out.
Comes out with a knee brace on. God. The one thing we want to know, or it's good to know in this whole idea, is the continued investment in the team. Because that's what this is. G League teams don't make money.
No.
Which was why Paul Allen was partly like, I don't think we want to do this.
Right.
The Blazers have spent money where they've needed to, in a sense. Now, when I had Joe on 2 weeks ago, I asked him point blank, if you're able to, like, if you put a competitive team out on the floor, is ownership willing to go in the tax for that team? And I was very specific in my word choice. Because I said competitive team on purpose.
Right.
Because I don't expect any owner to pay for a shitty team, to go into the tax for a bad team. Do you?
Oh, no. I that's not the business model anymore.
No. So I said that purposefully for everybody who's kind of wondering. And he said yes. They have full support of ownership. I think G League is part of that. And increasing your scouting department is part of that. Putting money into the practice facility is part of that. Putting money into Moda is part of that. Now, would I like to see the sales situation resolved and like one of the three richest people on the planet buy the team? Yes. Yes, I would. Speaking of, totally unrelated, Brandon, did you see that Phil Knight's going to spend $400 million in the Albina district?
I was just going to bring that up. I mean, I think that's a pretty big thing to kind of mention. Look, I'm all about good deeds. I'm all about righting a lot of wrongs that have happened in our city's past. I think that was
it's a long list.
A very long list. But the one complaint people have always had about that area, it's like going to a game and then cool, I guess I'm getting out of here. Whereas like almost every other stadium and arena in America, it builds up and becomes a district, and it becomes an area that people want to hang and be around. And like, unfortunately now for certain pockets of the city, now it's like you're walking back to your car and you're always kind of looking over your shoulder a little bit. And you're like, I got to get back to my car now. And so I think the one thing you can do, invest in the community. And it's great where he sent that money. But I
also, that property kind of runs directly up to the Rose Quarter.
I was going to say, it's interesting. Like, he could have donated to a lot of north and northeast areas.
Killingsworth needs some work, too.
Just happened to choose the one area closest to the Moda Center. That's not a coincidence, folks. That's big business. That's smart business.
Look, that whole deal, let's call it what it is. It's an olive branch, so to speak. Yeah. But I'm not one who's going to knock olive branches out of billionaires' hands. I'll take their money.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I still think he deserves to, like, he should be given a compliment. Like, that's a pretty nice gesture, something nice to do. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's rich, but not every rich guy is stepping up and going, hey, here's $400 million.
Here's half a billy. Enjoy.
Right.
I'm always leery because anytime that money is spent like that, I'm always like, what else are you thinking? And I think the what else in this situation is very clearly the Trailblazers.
Yes.
But if you have the opportunity to improve the real estate, improve the area around an investment you're about to possibly make, I mean, don't you take that?
It would behoove him to have a nice area that people want to hang out and be at, and, maybe set up some areas and some institutions where the game's over and it's like, oh, you know what? It's a Friday. It's only 9:30. Let's go over to this place. Let's go to that place.
You don't want to just walk to the one Taco Bell?
I usually just walk back to my car by Toyota Portland and hope the window hasn't been broken into. It's usually like if I'm not going as media, that's usually what my situation is, to be honest with you.
First of all, I want to shout out my parking pass because you just brought that up.
Parking passes are money.
Mwah!
Yes, 100%.
But two, I'm going to get slightly serious here. I'm not doing the shit on Portland thing. But I get kind of tired of people anytime somebody says, Portland's not doing so great. And you get people like, it's terrible. All this great weather and clean water. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, I step over a guy shooting heroin every morning going into my job.
I haven't seen that guy in a while.
I've seen him like a month, but one of our other stations got their truck broken into in broad daylight. And they had to bring a hazmat team out there because he bled all over the truck.
Yeah.
Like, you can. It's okay to say that Portland has issues.
There's some. I don't. Yeah, I mean, the people that argue, I almost feel like you're just arguing to argue instead of just being like, I'm down there. You and I are down there every day.
Literally every day when we see rampant drug use within 50 feet of on our stoop on a weekly basis.
Sometimes I drive in. I'm over there at 4:50 a.m., 5 a.m., and there's a full on like
5-alarm fire.
Rage tent fire, and I'm just like, I hope nobody's passed out in that tent right now because it's awful. But there's a lot of cities that are similar. There's just pockets, and it's unfortunate. I think when businesses start leaving, feel how you want to feel, but like that's a pretty big indicator, and that's something that people should pay attention to and care about. Yeah,
and I think that's like part of the investment is that I'm not looking to displace another disenfranchised group in the homeless. I want to see them taken care of. I'm not heartless like, pack it up, Grouch. Get a job, Grouch. Go full Dave Chappelle on them. Just step over the top of them. Like, I want to see that helped out. But, like, to be blunt, the area around Moda and on the other side of the river where you and I work, literally on the other side of the river, it's awful.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's in a very rough place right now. So, hopefully that with that kind of money and then people smarter than me in the investment sector are able to recoup some of that ability and redevelop that area. And that's, I think, kind of where we ultimately go up. On a less, I don't even know if that's political, just less frustrating.
It's a political thing to just say what's going on in the city.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not siding with I'm not picking a side. I'm just like, I know what I see. And like, I know people that have done business in that area, in those areas, like,
who have packed up.
And I'm there every day.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not there every day and I haven't seen it in weeks or months or whatever, like, I probably wouldn't speak on it. I see it every day.
Yeah. On the less crappy side of things, playoff basketball. Playoff basketball. What has been your takeaway from the doom, despair, destruction, and chaos that has been the NBA playoffs through halfway through the 40 games and 40 nights?
I'm going to actually keep it pretty local here. I've enjoyed a lot of the coverage. It's weird because, like, I have my favorite players, and, like, Giannis is my favorite player sans Dame right now. Mm-hmm. And so the fact he's down 3-1, I'm like, I'm got a little mad at Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler was awesome in that game. But I'm like, damn it, stop making these shots. But I just I'm watching today, yesterday, every day, and I can't help but just get a little frustrated and hope that they truly get themselves out of where they're currently at right now. Danny, the West is not great.
It's not even just the West.
No, I know. The East has got some surprises happening, but, like, I just want to keep it to the West here because this has kind of been my thought is, like, you just need, like, a couple things. I know what their record was. I know how their season ended. You just kind of need a couple things to go your way roster construction-wise, and you're in this. Golden State could win the championship. Denver could win the championship. I know, but you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of teams in the West.
It's wide open.
I don't know is Phoenix the best team? They have no depth. So it's just like, it makes me really upset that their season went as crappy as it did. But it also leaves me a little more optimistic than I am that if they make their necessary roster adjustments, we could not only be watching our team, we could be watching our team pull off upsets like some of these other teams that shouldn't be doing it. The playoffs couldn't be any more different than the regular season. I watched the regular season. This is like covering hockey. I don't know how people cover hockey like this, where it's just
a different sport.
The 8 beats the 1, and you never know when it's happening. That's kind of what the NBA is right now.
There's so much going on in the NBA right now behind the scenes when you're talking about management, roster construction, CBA. I think a lot of what you're seeing right now is that the jump, the skip, the whatever you want to say in the timeline that is or was the Warriors has settled. They've gotten back, and it's kind of funny because it's almost like people forgot what competitive balance looks like in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, there's a great team here or there, but you're not supposed to have 4 in-prime Hall of Famers at one time.
Yeah,
that's not supposed to happen. So their dominance, their run, or hell, with the Cavs, you're not supposed to have 3 in-prime Hall of Famers at a given time. Like, 2 is kind of supposed to be the number. Maybe a guy a little past his prime or a guy's a little young. They're not all supposed to be in-prime guys, right?
Yeah.
So you're seeing teams settle into this groove of competitive balance. Sure, you can be top-loaded, but you're not going to have the depth. And the new CBA that just got ratified a couple hours ago is going to prevent that from happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be very, very difficult for the Phoenix Suns to get competitive depth on the back of their roster without guys taking massive pay cuts. And those pay cuts are going to be so dramatic that some guys are going to be like, nah, I'm good. I'll go be on a mediocre team. I want my generational money.
Yeah, there ain't going to be a bunch of Tom Brady's in this league going, yeah, I'll take a pay cut. My wife's a supermodel. Like, that ain't happening.
So you get a couple of those situations happening. You get a team like the Kings that have some solid depth. Maybe not quite as good on the top end. You have a team like the Suns who are super heavy on the top end. You get a team like the Bucks that are going to have to make very real choices about Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez in this offseason. You get a team like the Nets that maybe if they add a piece or two that they end up being kind of a depth team. And so you just look up at the Celtics added Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon over the last 2 years, and hell, in that game against the Hawks last night, they looked like the exact same team that lost to Steph Curry and the Warriors in the finals, where their offense sucked in the half court and they couldn't stop a floor-stretching guard. It was like, am I watching a stupider version of the finals? You know, and it was like, and everybody's like, oh no, the Celtics are that team. The Celtics are that team. We talked about that with the Bucks. Jimmy Buckets has had one of the best playoffs we've ever seen right now. Devin Booker, for all of the Jimmy Bucket stuff, Devin Booker's been the best player in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's averaging 37, 7, and 5, shooting, 60, 40, 85, I think I said this morning.
Yeah.
So you have these places, or these teams that are in these places now where I don't think the Blazers make one move and like, oh my, unless that one move is like Giannis or something along those lines. But I don't look at this team and go, oh my God, they are so far away. And for anybody who's followed me or us or heard us in the last couple of years, you know I'm not Captain Sunshines and Rainbows. I'm not the most optimistic guy when it comes to team building. I look at this and go, if they got a Jaylen Brown, they're in the mix.
Hell yeah, they're in the mix.
Like, again, that is a massive hurdle to overcome. If they got two lesser players, what if I told you that now they don't move their lottery pick for this? Let's or if they did, they end up keeping both Ant and Shaden, right? That you got, I don't know, OG and Draymond. Two lesser names on the pecking order, but two very good players.
That team, I'd have some questions about that, but like also you couldn't say like it'd definitively be better than what they were doing, and it puts you in a conversation in the West where, you know, your traditional Portland, somebody on a national podcast goes, "Yo, is Portland the scariest team in the West?" Like, that's what something like that could do for you. You know, it's you're flying under the radar, but you're good enough to get involved in the conversation with maybe a legitimate shot to make a little bit of noise.
And that's the thing, is like, you look at where they are right now. They need a defensive stopper. They need an OG. They need a Jaylen. They need a Draymond. They need defensive help. We all know that. I would be very surprised if they came back with Yusuf Nurkic as their center next year. Just because we've jumped the shark with Dirk. He's not a bad player, but for what they want to do and how they want to, like, he's the worst player to have alongside Damian Lillard. It's just period, point blank. Just it doesn't work unless you have got three of the most switchable wings in the NBA who are all 6'7" and bigger. It's just not. It's not feasible. But that's okay. It's not. Doesn't say Nurk's a bad player. Just it's not a good fit.
I mean, it's just too. It's like it's not only just the style. To me, it's like, I hate sounding negative. As I watch JJ Redick look at Stephen A today and go, "You guys have never played high level basketball." 100%. But what I would say though is like, there's also, at least what I can say as a basketball fan, is sometimes things end not just because of styles. It ends because it's kind of just time, right?
Sure,
like,
100%.
And you know, I know he's spoken out about this before, and I know he wants to be here, and that's kind of an admirable thing. But
that tone changed at the exit interview, though.
It's felt very like, yo, this is maybe should have been over 2 years ago, but it's not, and here we are.
This is what it looks like when. Remember when they brought Norman Cove back, and everybody's like, "What the hell? Why is this the same team?"
Yeah, right.
This is what happens when you go a year longer with that. It's like, we're not really doing this again, are we? Right? Like,
that's how I'll feel if he's back and he is their center. I am going to feel like that.
That was the thing that I think it was interesting in that in the exit interview, it was. Remember the last couple times Nurk's been asked about that stuff, he has flat out said, "Joe's told me he's not trading me."
Yeah.
He's put the kibosh on that every single time. When he was asked about it at exit interviews, he's like, "Well, they'll have me. I'd like to be back." You know, it was a big. I mean, that was one of the things from the exit interviews that jumped off the table to me. It was how he phrased that. It was basically like, "Brother, you got your money. Appreciate you. We're gonna try and go a different way."
Yeah.
we haven't talked about this, obviously, because we haven't done a show since the interview with Joe. But one of the things that I asked Joe again, but specifically was this reason was to kind of suss it out. Can Dame and Ant, or have you seen enough of Dame and Ant for them to be a backcourt going forward? Mm-hmm. And he said yes. Mm-hmm. I told you that off the record, but probably about a month beforehand, in the sense of like, I think they believe that like they could kind of figure that out, that if they have those two offensively, they can be so good that if they just figure it out on the back end between 3, 4, and 5, that kind of like what you're seeing with Cleveland, which maybe not a bad example or not a good example right now, as they're currently losing to the Knicks. But I think that's the hardest part, in the sense of like trying to figure out the 3, 4, 5. Now they have the 4 with Jeremy. If they got, I don't know, Draymond and Daniel Gafford, Dame, Ant, Dre, Grant, Gafford.
I don't know how excited I am about that. I mean, that could, I think that's probably a better team than what you had, given you have Draymond. I watched the interview. It was a good interview, and I'm not surprised to hear him say that, but like, I think the tough thing here is they didn't get the requisite time that the last two guards got together. They didn't get the requisite time they were supposed to have, even this season with the injuries. Mm-hmm. But like, both their numbers are better without each other. Their better lineups are when like, yo, Dame's not on with me, plus 11.9.
They both need the ball.
I think Ant had, and that's kind of what my takeaway was. I think Ant was a part of the best 5-man rotation on a point differential, mm-hmm. and it wasn't with Dame. And I think, part of the season was Ant, I think, trying to fill out what that's like off ball. But also, I saw how good he is when he's got the ball, and it's really good. It's not like I don't like him, but like, I want to be honest here. I don't have any interest in that. I think that's unfortunately the move that's kind of the thing you got to mm-hmm. do. I wouldn't expect the general manager to be outright saying that, but like, personally on that fit, I kind of want to break away from the 2-6-3 guard thing. And that's not all Ant's fault, but like, situation kind of says he's really good when he's got the ball in his hands, but so is Dame. And when you play him at the same time, you got a little bit of a wonky situation.
And that's the thing is, like, if I was a betting man, I would bet on Anthony not being here next season.
I would too.
I think with the way things stand, that's just kind of how it goes. Like, to your point, pulling up the best differential lineups for the Trailblazers this year, of lineups that actually count. Mm-hmm. Ant, Hart, Grant, Winslow, Nurk were a plus 8.3.
Yeah, 8.3, that's what it was, yeah.
Which is really good. They were the 60th percentile offensively.
Yeah.
And what was it? 63rd percentile defensively. Like, honestly, that's really good. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a good lineup. The next best lineup was the starting lineup: Dame, Ant, Hart, Grant, Nurk, and that was a plus 0.9. Mm-hmm. Which is weird because their offense sucked. They're in the 48th percentile offensively with that lineup. Yeah. It's like, shouldn't that be better? No, anyways, that is not a I want to trade Ant. It is a recognition of most likely scenarios, so to speak. But everybody who's sending every single snapshot of their trade machine, save it till May 17th. Because the idea of what they can and can't do is a chasm. I did a show with Hyken yesterday. The difference between Scoot, the presumptive number 2 pick, mm-hmm. and Jarris Walker at 5 is a canyon. Like, I want to make sure I say this very clearly. Wemby, a prospect valued higher than LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's not, again, this is not hyperbole. That's where he's projected at. It's absolutely batshit crazy. Scoot is a foundational superstar, the bedrock of a franchise. Any other draft, he's the number 1 overall.
He's number 1. Yeah.
Like any non-Zion, Wemby, LeBron, Tim Duncan, like holy shit kind of guy in the draft, he's number one.
Right.
Or he's in that conversation, right?
Right.
If you have that asset, if the Blazers, if they don't get Wemby and they end up 2, they have the silver bullet. They have the single most desired asset in the NBA that's not named Giannis or Victor.
It's seemingly, yeah. I mean, obviously you would be missing Victor, but like it's seemingly you got to view it as like you're holding a number 1 pick.
Yes.
I mean, it's a pseudo number 1 pick.
A number 1 pick in Andrew Wiggins, who, if you're putting both prospects up against each other, Scoot versus Wiggins, Scoot is above Wiggins, was able to get an in-prime all-star Kevin Love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do serious damage with that.
Right.
Now, I've seen people say, I don't know if Anthony Simons and that pick is enough to get Mikal Bridges, but seemingly Ben Simmons and a poo-poo platter of shitty picks can get Damian Lillard. So maybe I just don't know the hell I'm talking about.
Boy, the trades by the East Coast media the last week or so have just been dreadful.
The trade Damian Lillard industrial complex, the TDIC, has hit. They have ramped it up to 11.
You want to throw Miami into a conversation. I don't know what they would trade you, but like you want to do that. Okay, I kind of get it. It's Miami.
Tyler Herro, baby.
Why are we acting like Brooklyn is some situation that's like a Dame away?
From a title.
They got swept out of the first round. That team, there was a nice little story as soon as the trade happened. Oh, they played hard. They're winning. And then they cooled down, and then they kind of slid into the playoffs, and then they got their asses kicked. So it's like this whole New York thing is dry. It drives me nuts.
It's the prestige zone, baby.
I know, but I'm rooting for the Knicks. It's a fun story. I love seeing like the riots on 7th Street if they go up 3-1. That's great. But this whole like every New York team, like, come on, man. Brooklyn, really?
Yeah, we're gonna need to calm that down. We start off talking about the idea of value of things, and you said when I said that if they don't move, the reaction if we're at the watch party on May 16th is there's no such thing as a meh, because you just understand that like that's what you have. I'd argue there's a bit of a meh because the damage you can do is Scoot plus whatever or additional picks.
Sure.
Excuse me. Is very different with what you can do with Jarris Walker and picks.
Right.
Because if you're looking at the pecking order, Victor, giant gap, Scoot, maybe Brandon Miller. It depends on who you talk to. That's like I've gotten Scoot is on that next tier. Brandon Miller for some guys is on that tier. For a few, Brandon Miller was above Scoot, and for a few, Brandon Miller was below Scoot. But like if you want to say that tier, fine. Then Thompson, then Walker. Okay, so that's your top 5 tier. Okay, like you're talking about multiple steps removed each time.
I just think it's tough. I would agree with that. Obviously, I've seen some of the mocks, and you're dead on. The thing I would go back though to of the little bit of a meh. Again, you don't get Victor, you're gonna have a little bit of like, damn, like you know, you're one of 5 teams with the best odds to do it. You want to do it.
Sure.
And if you don't get it, it's a bit of like, damn, we can't have that nice thing, huh? But I think it's like 5 and 2 is a gap. But who's the team you're trading the pick to? And like, what's their position with the said pick, right? Like if you're attaching the pick to some, I guess I'm just like more searching for who's the team. Is it a team that's going to turn the pick to someone else? Is it a 3-team trade that the pick goes to and the pick has value to the 3rd team, but you get a piece from the other team? I have a lot of questions.
I think that's exactly it though. What you hit on.
Yeah.
Whatever the deal is, the difference between Scoot and Jarris, I'll just use those two as placeholders.
Sure.
Is if it's Jarris, it's just like a 1-for-1 kind of swap. If it's Scoot, maybe you get what you want and a pick back, or what you want and another player back. Like that's the thing. It's added value, and I think that's really the difference that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're Portland, you need added value.
Yeah.
The way always the way that they were going to thread this needle was hitting a home run.
Mm-hmm.
Is shading a home run right now? Stand up double.
Mm-hmm.
Stand up double for sure. Extra bases, baby. He hit it in the gap. Now, you hit, you land on Wemby, you're emptying the bags, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
You hit Scoot, you're definitely driving a run home. Probably got that triple, maybe a home run.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the difference. Like, you're talking about a slight advancement versus really driving it home. And so if it stays 5, deep single with a chance to score the run, like all these MLB analogies right now.
I like that you're stuck on baseball mode despite that your team sucks.
Wow! Just because they have the worst start since 1973. I don't want to hear it. Fucking bullpen. Anyways.
Baseball podcast. Welcome to it.
Jacked baseballs.
You want to know Danny's take on the Cardinals bullpen?
Yeah.
Listen to his Danalytics.
There you go. Well, I'm going to go down that road as soon as we get the dog days of summer. That's for damn sure. But all of this talk, everything we're going through right now, it's fun, but it's also entirely useless for 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
May 16th is the date. Once that date comes, then we can really start talking about which way they go.
Mm-hmm.
Who they can get. Because it's all, let's see what happens. And there's some truth to that. But also, we have plenty of time to be pissed off about something. I like the idea of, like, this is the only time you get to genuinely dream.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to wait for something to crush me. Like, why would I put a hypothetical scenario in my head? I know what that scenario is. I don't care. I'm not going to dwell on the most negative possible thing that could happen.
Oh, that pick's going to move back. It's like, no, man, allow yourself to dream. Dude, allow yourself to have some fun.
We're out doing that pod, and we start that show just before, and we're doing the countdown, and they get to 6, and then they get to 5. And
if they pull that envelope and they're in that top 4, where they have all 4 of them standing up on stage, you and I will be losing our collective shit.
And then, like, imagine it goes to 3. Portland's still
there.
I
literally just got goosebumps.
You know what I mean? Now it's down to 2. Oh, shit, the Spurs, Portland, and the Hornets are 1 and 2. And boom, you draw it again.
You see it again, and that Charlotte Hornet pops out. And you just lose your shit all over again.
Chaos. I can't guarantee anything. We're gonna be live. If they get the 1 pick, I don't know if I'm gonna take the headset off.
Oh, we're throwing stuff.
And just start running around screaming and hugging, and I'm gonna go buy a GD French dictionary the next day.
Listen, Heiken and I have already got the French apps downloaded.
He doesn't need it because he speaks great English.
But you want to endear yourself for a little bit, right? A little parler du français.
When he was sidling up in French, imagine how jealous other reporters would be. You're like, you're just like popping up in French with Victor Wembanyama.
So that's the deal. That's the deal, guys. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to have some fun. You have 3 weeks to do it. And then maybe it becomes a reality.
Yeah.
Or you give a soul-crushing dream and turns into a nightmare, and they fall back 4 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Whee!
I mean, again, I don't know why we need to do that.
I'm just saying, like, it's on the table. For those that are arriving late, speaking of on the table, like, review, subscribe, help us grow the show. We're just short of 5,000. Help us get to 5,000 by that day.
Almost there.
Beyond that, there is a live watch party that will be going on May 16th at Bricks downtown. That is the official location for the watch party for us. We will start the day off with Dusty and I, noon to 3 on 1080 The Fan, live on location. We will finish up our show. Isaac and Suk Primetime will take over from 4 to 7 and carry you through the draft or through the lottery. During that, Brandon and I will have this show live on location there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys want to come down and join us, please come down and join. And I guess that's probably a good time to plug the last couple spots. We do have the 1080 The Fan Golf Tournament. If anybody's interested, there's only like 10 spots left, and they're all in the morning.
They're all morning rounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all of our afternoon rounds sold out already, and that's on June 27th. So
I'm going to say, if you're kicking around the idea to come golf and hang out with us or whatever,
you better do it literally right now.
I would do it right now, but also those afternoon rounds sold out. I've been in that tournament for 9 years, and I've had a lot more years where the morning round is
a lot more fun.
Well, yeah, because it gets hot quick.
Mm-hmm.
And that afternoon round, it can be 103 degrees.
We were cooking last year.
Oh,
absolutely. That was when Dusty and I pissed off our boss by basically leaking that we were doing the show together about 18 times during his show at that time.
It was the most open, on a relationship I'd ever seen in my life.
And it was hilarious because people still didn't get it. The text line was great then. But we'll wrap it up there. I have got some season review, preview type things for not every player, for players that I expect to be back next year, that I am finishing up. So there's a lot of charts and graphs and video breakdowns. Like on Shaden, I've got it just about wrapped up. I want to get a little bit more film on some of his pick and roll stuff because there isn't a ton. But we'll take that, and I'll start kind of slow dripping that over the next 2 weeks as something to kind of chew on, and the opportunity for that. Joey's asking if we're doing playback or YouTube for the live stream for the draft.
Ooh,
I don't know.
You should hit up our guy playback.
Yeah, I'll see what we can do. Yeah, but we'll just open it up. One way or the other, it'll be open to everybody.
Here's this is the weird thing. So this is where it gets a little weird, and it's kind of out of our control. There's a good chance that being at Bricks, if you can't make it, we totally get it. It's an early, weekday. I get it. There's a shot, though, that if we're doing playback or YouTube, we might be ahead.
Yeah, we will be ahead of you.
That's what I'm saying is, before the envelope, if we're in top 2 and you're waiting, but we just go, and you're like, what are they doing? I can't see anything. There's a shot that can happen.
So, yeah, that's where we stand with that right now. Again, thank you all. We appreciate you. We love you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the show. You can email the show, jackedramsays@gmail.com. Find us on social media, at Jacked Ramsays, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague, across social media. Again, thank you all so very much. We'll do a mailbag show probably next week and circle back as we kind of are viewing some things through a little bit of a different lens, and then we'll be 2 weeks removed from, or 2 weeks away from the lottery. Go out there and enjoy the sunshine. That's why we're not cranking out shows right now. It's supposed to be 80 freaking degrees this weekend. We're definitely not doing a show. So go out there and enjoy that. Take care. Talk soon. Have a wonderful week.